Hello, I'm Dale, and I'm joined by Mike Jones. Hello, Mike Jones.
Hey, Dale, it's Wednesday.
It is Wednesday, and I just got in from the weekly business session, and I still haven't taken off my paw print tie here. There's lots of little paw prints over my tie. It's tiny little
Because
dogs.
he never washes it and he lets animals play with his clothing or something.
Let animals play with my clothing. That's nice.
Listen, it's best I could do off the top of my head.
Well, that's actually not
pretty
too bad.
sad.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's pretty sad. Okay, so get that thing off so that I'm more friendly for our audience. So the weekly business session still continues. That's what you see over this shoulder because we capture the weekly business session. And today I just, I really hate. I would prefer to go in without a script, without any notes, without anything, and just react to what's happening. But I knew the Josephine Community Libraries, which is over my shoulder here, I knew that they would show up and make a presentation today. So we thought we'd bring you back up to speed about Josephine Community Libraries. Now, we're going to do it with the video that just happened. It was just put on the internet by the county. Keep in mind, this is not our usual high quality. This is the county's quality. So when you're looking at this saying, boy, that's really blurry. That's your taxpayers' dollars at work.
Well, in fairness,
yeah,
it's a little teeny. It's odd because the video that they put out is not very scalable. It's one little teeny thing, and you have to do a screen capture of that. And so then when you blow it up to the size that we're putting it out at, it looks significantly more pixelated.
I believe that even your tiny little things that are pixelated still look better than this. Let's go.
Well, and the audio is good too. So you want to roll with that right now?
I do. Let's roll with that right now.
Here we go.
Dale Matthews, Grants Pass. I'm sure there's plenty of good people who thought that when they voted for certain commissioners, they'd end up with certain things. They didn't anticipate that the motto of this board would be, I know we're breaking the law and I don't care. The same thing goes for me with the Josephine Community Libraries. I'm a donor to them. I grew up in libraries. I really like them. I'm not a book burner. But I also don't expect that there's going to be something very similar to a picture book for pedophiles in the library. I don't like that. I don't approve. And I don't think that's part of the First Amendment the way that I see it when we're supposed to be watching over the kids. So when another citizen brought up that porn was easily available to children and to everybody at the library, Cheryl Walker said, oh no, that's just not true. So I went down there, as a good journalist would do, and I checked it out to see if it was true. It was true. Under Google, not getting access to some weird websites, just Google images. You just type in the most innocuous words, and suddenly you're looking at soft pornography. Really? On the library's computers? I also found that you could get access to the pictures, because nobody's interested in the words, of the North American Man-Boy Love Association. Grown men with little boys?
If you want us to talk about the general idea, let's not get into the specifics. We don't need that. We don't need that.
I brought this to the attention of the librarian in charge. He just laughed. One of the fellows said, well, that's part of free speech for kids. Free speech for kids. So I did try to do it quietly. Any good citizen would. It didn't work. They just laughed. So I brought it to a meeting here. You know, you have a rule against not applauding. Cheryl Walker led the applause when they were jumping all over me. Why, you're addicted to porn. No, I'm not. I'm bringing you a point. I'm a donor. Why, you're hacking into our computer. It's Google. I'm not hacking into anything. Why, it sure seems like you're a social deviant, Mr. Matthews. What the heck are you talking about? Well, this ended up being one of our most popular videos of all time, all over the country. And with a follow-up that was just as popular. So I would advise companies and people that are saying, gee, I don't know if I'm going to move there because of the library. Don't move here because of the leadership of this library. Stay away from this place. And if you're going to take children to the library, you better stay next to them. Because this is the kind of leadership we have. There's nothing wrong with the books, with the stacks, with the computers. There's something wrong with the management there.
And there you have it.
That's correct, sir.
Go. Muting yourself again.
You know, they're just always trying to mute me. That's exactly what's going on. Now, we're going to show you a little clip from the first one that we put out. This has well over 5,000 views. It's all over the country. People look at this and say, that's horrible. Look, my point on this was saying, you know, when you voted for Keith Heck, you know, if you did, you didn't think he was going to end up saying something like, I know we're breaking the law and I don't care. Those of you who voted for Cheryl Walker, who are you? You probably didn't think that she'd say, well, if you're not in favor of these failed ordinances, the 80% failure rate, why, that means you're in favor of rats. In favor of rats? If you did like her, you wouldn't like her now. Well, I felt the same way about Kate Lasky in charge of the, well, a nice person, right? It's libraries. What's not to like? And then the strangest thing happened. Go ahead and play that footage, Mike.
We always say we're going to monitor things, and how we monitor things. When we have the library, we don't even have those filters for the kids, and pornography is just running rampant. And yet we're going to be, you know, supporting, or people will be, I guess, the library tax. I think filters would be in that, state of the subject. So, you know, the subject here, but I too am very concerned with our teenagers where they're headed. It's a very sad day that we make this available to kids, and once again, with parents working and not monitoring their kids, not sitting at the dinner table, not by, you know, having a conversation anymore. Everybody's on their iPad. We live in a very scary time and a very unfortunate time. Thank you.
Ms. Aarons said that people are accessing pornography and that there's no filters in the library. I'd like to assure people our children are not accessing pornography. There are filters on our library's computers, and so, you know, that I just want to rest assured people, if you're sending your children to the library, they are not accessing any pornographic material.
Certainly not.
Yeah, the only problem with that is, Cheryl Walker was lying to us. I know Mike's not surprised, but really, she didn't know. She had no idea. I want to assure everybody that they're not asking. Yes, they are.
Yeah, well, the idea that you would just whip out and say something like that without actually knowing is, yeah, it's a little bit disturbing. Yeah.
Well, look, and I'm not talking, look, I made it clear in that first little thing that you saw, the one that was out of focus. I'm a big library supporter. I grew up in libraries. My folks would drop me off at the library and say, see you later this afternoon, and that was the morning. So I know a little bit about libraries, and I know a little bit about the internet, as Mike does. So just so that you know, shield your children from this, all you have to do is go to Google Images, and type in college girls. I'm not talking to high school girls or grade school girls, college girls, softcore porn. You type in something a little more tart, and you're going to get tarts, all right. And you're also going to get men having sex with boys, pictures. Nobody's interested in the text. You're going to get just from Google Images, right? This is why your computer of your grandchild should be in the living room. You're going to get women having sex with animals. Really? Is this necessary in the library? Really? I'm all for free speech. I'm not a book burner, as I said. You know, Catcher in the Rye, Huckleberry Finn. I'm not asking to burn those books. Give me a break. But I don't expect, as I said, that we're going to see a picture book for pedophiles in our library. And kids, you know, looking at it, oh, this looks interesting. Don't do that. And their response was less than stellar. The worst part about it was what happened next. Play what happened next, Mike.
Dale Matthews, Grants Pass. I am a library supporter. I'm a library donor. I grew up in libraries all my life. Libraries are about the quest for knowledge. I absolutely agree with that. So when I went to the first meeting, this is a DVD, of this formation of a library district, boy, was I surprised, because I brought to them information I thought that they might find alarming and maybe want to do something about. Pornography is easily available on our library's computers just by going to Google. Not by going in, somebody's laughing in the back. I guess it's funny that pornography is available to anyone in there. And half of the people sitting in the main section of the library looking at the computers were kids, young people, minors. So here's the responses that I got. This one from Cheryl Walker. This is about the easy access to pornography, which needs to be fixed at our library before I want to give them any more money. Cheryl Walker says, anyone who could find all those porn sites probably has some intimate knowledge of that.
I would say that anybody that could find all those porn sites in 30 seconds probably has some intimate knowledge of that.
That's real polite. Really? Is this the response that you have when someone's saying there's a problem that needs to be solved? That I have an intimate knowledge of porn? That's not true. Someone else says, any hacker can figure these things out.
Ms. Lasky, I'd like to respond to the comment.
We have a public use of the internet policy that's determined by the board of directors. That's really all I have to say.
You have filters though for some of the sites, correct?
We do not have filters. We have public catalog computers. We have restricted computers in the children's library and the teens area.
It's the teen section.
But any hacker can figure those things out.
I'm not a hacker. I went to Google. That's not hacking. That was Kate Lasky.
It's disappointing that people like Mr. Matthews choose to do that at the library, but it's really rare.
For just one moment, I just want to suggest that you not be distracted by the red herring of censorship. The type of behavior that Mr. Matthews was admitting to, it seldom ever happens at the library, in much the same way that children seldom throw up in the children's library, but we don't line the floors with plastic. When it happens, it's icky, but it is not a common occurrence. So please don't allow that to distract you.
That's Kate Dwyer. I admitted to activity. I went over because I had heard that it was available, and because I'm a journalist, there were no other journalists that went, I went to go to the library to see if this was true. I didn't know if it was true or not. I brought it to the attention of the librarians who were there, and the one that I talked to said, well, that happens all the time. It happens all the time. You can't prevent a social deviant looking at me or a political gadfly from looking at porn at the library. Really?
You can't prevent social deviant.
Oh, thanks again.
Gadfly.
So, what's the problem with our current board? We have a problem in the country, bad leadership. We have a problem in this county, bad leadership. We have a problem with the board of directors of the library district. Doesn't look like good leadership to me. Really, and every time someone said that, the whole audience applauded. I thought we had rules against applause. Apparently not, with Cheryl Walker running the meeting. So, what is it that is the problem? Well, the children tonight are standing in the way of the collection of money. It's supposed to be about protecting the children. It's not. It's about money.
Little Lisa asks, Mommy, why is there porn on the library internet? Vote no on this leadership.
Yeah, and that was due to the fact that not long after that video was put out, there was a proposed library district which failed.
I'm for libraries. I'm for good government. I am not for Cheryl Walker leading a meeting. I am not for the people that
You're for the red herring of censorship.
You know what they meant by red herring? They didn't want people to get distracted from the fact that they wanted money. And that's what they were talking about again today. We need your money. Libraries are essential.
Well, and
the money that they spent on a video to play to us to show us why they need money.
Yes. Well, the board basically said, well, at least Simon Hare said that, we're all about giving you some more economic development money. And I guess, they gave 50,000 to Rogue Roasters. So they have, I'm not sure how much every year that they have, but it's like 300,000 or 400,000, isn't it? So they've got, a few $100,000 left to give to the library or something. This idea that somehow, and they always do this thing where the core of the community is the library. And, if we didn't have a library, people wouldn't move here because, oh my goodness, I couldn't imagine living in a community that is that uncultured. I think most people now coming up, especially if you're talking about some high tech company, all of their kids are going to be on iPads that are, connected to Amazon. They're going to have plenty of exposure to reading materials. So the idea that if your community doesn't have a library, or the library isn't robust and with 10 branches and $100,000 salaries for the leadership there, that somehow you don't have a community, I just don't buy into it.
Well, you're not joking. That's where it sits.
Of course.
I call it the gold urinals plan.
Yes, they want, what they really would like is that if local government had enough money here to bring the library back in, and then they'd give the fat salaries and benefits to everybody that works in there like they used to. It was interesting that Simon had an antidote about that, but I can't really remember
right?
What it
He's
was.
always saying
I can't remember
he needs
what
to
it
go
was.
to the library. He needs to look at a dictionary. Well, that's just small comedy.
It was an antidotal story.
That's what he always says. He said the other day that people might leave the job of their own fruition. Well, why would you leave a job just when it's bearing fruit?
Or why would I leave my job because of some of my own fruit? I don't know.
Yeah, well, but this is nothing compared with the fact that they're talking about the Merlin North Valley Sewer District reverting to the city, which it may do in 12 years, and they're just like, what? Or the idea of giving away, all these thousands and thousands of dollars to someone that's putting a plaque on a rock because it's going to create 90 jobs. This other stuff is nothing. Just saying the wrong word is nothing compared with that kind of lunkheadedness. And the new motto, I'm going to keep repeating this, of the Board of County Commissioners is, I know we're breaking the law. There's no doubt about it. And I don't care. That's why it's not going to help to send these guys to re-education camps, not even FEMA camps. We just need to get rid of them. It's kind of like you got a little 4-cylinder engine and 3 of the spark plugs are not sparking very much anymore. That's Keith. And the other spark plug is misfiring all the time. That's Cheryl. And what do? Well, I think I'll nurse it. No, you replace the spark plugs.
I'm okay with it. Yeah, actually, that's perfectly analogous to a Chevy Sprint, because a Chevy Sprint is a 3-cylinder car.
Wow.
Yes. You learn something new every day.
Things you learn on this show. Aren't you grateful? No, really. Aren't you guys grateful? Come on now.
Yes.
Show us how grateful you are.
And how many Chevy Sprints do you see anymore?
I think they all sprinted off someplace. They're all down in Mexico. Oh, they're in Cuba.
Well, and I think for a period of time that the Chevy Sprint and the Geo Metro were on the same platform. You know how they have, cars made by different companies that have the same stuff in them, but they called something different. Yes.
They call that stuff in them dead people because they couldn't get out of their own way. Okay, all right. So look, I know I'm repeating myself. It's a free show. Just bear with me. I like libraries. Even if they've got old books, I like libraries. I like the idea that you can go to a library and maybe you're looking at this book and then you see another one and you go, oh, that's a related, I didn't realize, well, I think I'm going to look at that. That's okay with me. And I don't mind that I personally don't mind there's a little racy material. Okay, I'm an American. I can live with a little bit of that. I'm a red-blooded American guy. I can live with that too. I don't like the idea that that kids, they're sitting all around me. Oh, the kids don't go. Yes, they do. They're not searching for jobs. They weren't doing their homework. They were playing online games. Come on now, let's be real. Oh, these people are in there. They're all looking for jobs. No, every time I've been there, just my luck of the draw, nobody's looking for a job. Come on. Online dating, anything where you can go where they can't identify you, which includes searching for porn. And you don't have to type in a porn site's name. That's not necessary. If what you're interested in is the pictures, hello. Every kid knows already how to do this. This isn't the days with the Sears catalog and National Geographic visits Africa. Come on. You can see pictures. I know you don't want to. I don't either, but you can see pictures of women having sex with animals, and so can your kids. Why would you take your kids there and drop them off? You can't do that anymore because the library staff, the staff knows it's happening. Well, that happens all the time. That happens all the time? And then the other guy says that's free speech for kids. That's free speech for kids? Adult men and little boys? No, that's lunkheaded management. There's nothing wrong with those books. The carpeting is fine. The lights probably are great. This is not the problem. It's bad management. I'm not going to give him another dime.
Well, I personally, I feel somewhat the opposite of libraries. I haven't been to this particular library in probably 10 years.
Yeah, but you need to know how to read then if you want to go to a library.
Yes, but I do know how to read. That's the point.
Okay.
I read a lot of stuff, but I don't need to go to a library to get most of it anymore. If there's something there, and I used to go to the library as a kid all the time too. My parents dropped me off at the library. We killed a lot of time running around there looking at microfiche and going down, just pulling a book out and looking at it, that sort of thing. We killed a lot of time in libraries. But the point is that guess what? The libraries, I don't care who says it. It's the buggy whip industry. They're on their way out. And it's going to happen. And I'm sorry if that offends you, but that is what's going on. And many people do now and will in the future have very easy access to the internet. And there are public library sites where you can get electronic books online for nothing. Okay. So, and there will be a time not long in the future, only one library has to do it, and that's put their entire library online. Only one of them has to do that in the world for everybody to be able to come in there and have access to it.
Library of Congress would be a good candidate.
Right. Exactly. So listen, let's if they want to keep this thing going on donations for a while, fine, that's fine. Do whatever you need to do. But recognize this, when and if money comes back into this county again, let's not waste a whole lot of it dumping tons of money into the library system so we can have a whole bunch of, pencil pushing employees that have high salaries and benefits again. Because that's the way it was before.
What are the big lies that we keep hearing? These are not exaggerations. These are just big lies. Like that Hollywood sign, except it's Lies. big lies, okay? So some of the big lies that we hear is the commissioners had nothing to do with the last levy. That's a big lie, buddy. Exit 61 at Merlin is still a failing intersection. That's a big lie. It's big. The libraries fulfill the function of mostly helping people find jobs. This is a big lie. I mean, it sounds nice, but it's simply not true. When can we stop hearing these kinds of lies? They're just huge. And we end up getting nowhere with them continuing to say this. Oh, we must we must skim 10% off the top because that's what all the cool kids are doing. That's just simply not true. There are other home rule charter counties that are not doing that at all. We didn't used to. False. It's false. But they keep saying the same thing again and again as if we're not going to counter it. You know, I'm sure you get tired of hearing this from me. You got to get tired. I'm tired of saying it. But the thing is, whenever they say it, I'm going to say, no, that's not true. You're lying to us again. Stop lying to us. It's bad enough they're making bad decisions. But don't lie. Don't tell me that the prime function, everything is the center of the community. Why, did you know, and we've heard this, the airport is the heart of the community. You gotta be kidding me. Most people in this county have never been to the airport. How can it be the heart of the community? Did you know the Boys and Girls Club is the heart of the community? I have a soft spot for the Boys and Girls Club. It was just boys when I was growing up, but it's not the heart of the community. I'm sure the bowling alley is the heart of the community for somebody.
Yes, that's right.
The high school, it's the heart of the community.
Yeah, it's a very good point. That's a very subjective thing. It's different for everybody.
Well, then who are these people? I know who they are mostly. I think, sorry, not to be sexist, mostly they're wives of the good old boys. And they've got the same kind of attitude. And it doesn't matter to them what the truth is. Okay. And so they're there and they're saying, well, this needs to be done and everybody needs to support it with their money. I am robbing from Peter to pay Peter. I want you to support my thing. Don't you realize that the livestock auction at the county fair every year is the heart of the community? No, it's not. Yes. You're asking us to prop up your lifestyle. Go right ahead and do it, but don't ask for my tax dollars to do it. What, are you kidding me?
Anything that they want some more of your money for is the heart of the community, and you'd be a fool not to support it in some way.
How is it possible? This is what I asked myself when I first got involved with this. How is it humanly possible that the fair board would be unfair? What? That just doesn't, it's just the fair. But they were, I'm not saying now, but when they started off, they had people in there that were just awful. They were terrible. And they were doing this illegal stuff and they were laughing about it. That's the fair board. And then you got, I was involved with the library thing when it first started. And a couple of us were doing, and we were doing the finances for them. Finances. And I said, well, don't tell anybody this, but this is a goal and it's not here now. And I want you to know it's false, but this is something that could happen. And the next thing you know, they release it as fact. Hey, don't do that. I told you it was false. Yeah, but it sounded so good. Hey, you're the library board. What are you doing? It's just books. It's just a library. It's who they are.
Yeah.
It all depends on who they are. Alan Kobrick. Alan Kobrick is going to run for commissioner. Okay. So the Republican Central Committee, they took a vote. Do you believe that we should support the levy or don't support the levy? And Alan Kobrick and Roy Lindsay and Harry Mackin, they lost. Boy, were they hopping mad, but it's America. And when you take a vote, as we've done every time in these years of this decade, they lost. And so the Republican Central Committee said, by a pretty big majority, we're not going to support the levy. So, well, nobody understood this vote. Yes, they understood the vote. What are you talking about? Everybody was confused. Nobody was confused. Well, this is an illegal vote. No, it wasn't. It was in the best ideals of America. Okay, so they put up signs in the windows at Republican Central Committee headquarters, Republican headquarters, across the street from the courthouse. And when they all went home, Alan Kobrick took the signs out of the windows. Alan Kobrick, he's running for commissioner. He's a perfect match for Cheryl Walker. Okay. And then when they put ads on KJO saying this is how we voted, and KJO never did a story about it. They accepted the money for the ads, but they never wrote a story about this vote. Alan Kobrick, on his own, called them up and said, take those ads off. Hey, Alan, it's not up to you, bud. This is the commissioner that you would get with Alan Kobrick. Now, you may like that, and you may say, I love that Cheryl Walker, and I want someone just like her. Alan Kobrick is your candidate. Can't do better than Alan Kobrick. Trying to escape history. This is what the commissioners do when they rewrite the minutes to a meeting. I've seen it happen. They don't let us see this anymore. But they'll go in and they'll say, oh, I said that, take that out of there. What do you mean take that out of there? That's our history. That's your history. That's what you said. No, I want it replaced with, I think it's a wonderful idea, even though I voted against it. You can't do that. Well, they do. Really? They're trying to rewrite their history. What do you need? You need somebody, you need two somebodies with a little bit of a memory. And if our memories slip us, we have it on tape. This is what they said. And even when we have it on tape, they deny that it happened. How can you do that? Who are these people?
I'm speechless. I don't know. Or actually, I do know, but that's,
Brother, tell us all. Who the heck are these people that do? Well, okay, now part of it is your neighbors, not you, you're watching this show, but your neighbors, I kind of like that Simon Hare. Why, he got a bum rap about that drinking and driving. No, he didn't. It was in the police report. You remember the policeman came to his house to investigate what the police concluded was a false police report? This supporter of law enforcement turned in a false, according to the police. And when they came to his door and said, we'd like to investigate this car, he shut the door in their face. This is your Simon Hare. Well, I kind of like that guy. He looks good in tight pants. That's what was one of the ladies said when he made the speech. Well, I like his pants. You like his pants? We're over there talking about policy, and they're talking about his pants. Really? So you need to talk with your neighbors and say, hey, snap out of it. We need some changes around here. All you really need is, it would sure be nice if there were two, but all you really need is one person in there. And the one person saying, now, wait a minute. Okay, institutional memory, not 90 years old, but still, I do remember what happened last week.
Well, and if you only get one person, then everybody else should pitch in and make sure he has really nice pants.
Oh. Thank you very much.
Well, apparently it matters.